Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 285. Well, we're already 1 week into spring. The year is flying by. You guys have been a little quiet this week. That's probably because you've been out there enjoying that change of seasons like I have and hopefully making lots of great clicks. But I really greatly appreciate you stopping what you're doing, taking time to give the old podcast a listen, and all the support you do throw my way. I'm very grateful. Thank you ever so much. Also want to thank my good friends at Bedford Camera, bedfords.com. And those guys, they are cranking. I know they're getting out a ton of gear because I keep hearing from you folks thanking me for that 5% discount. Also, they've got that Nikon sale still going at Bedford's. If that's not enough, they got the Photo Expo coming out in August. I'll be there in person. Hope you'll be joining me. PhotoCon's in October. They got deals going every day, great prices, a ton of inventory, and expert superior service. So you guys take your time. Head to bedfords.com, either the website, give them a call, or in person. They've got 7 stores, 6 stores? I'm not sure what they're up to right now. I know they're busy and they're there to help you. So that's bedfords.com. Thanks for your support, guys. Well, let's get right into this week's topic. Oh, buck fever. Well, let me tell you a story like I haven't told you one before. Back in April 2002, 20 years ago, yikes, had a D1H. Had just basically come into out on the market. I just had it. Had a good friend, John, who was a sage grouse lek watcher and protector, invite me out for a couple days on the lek that he was working and guarding and monitoring in the Nevada desert, out in the sage. We get out there that night. He's got a camper. We're staying in that camper and playing a lot of gin rummy, and getting ready for the next morning. Had a pretty cool camper. We had this big window on the side, probably 5 by 2 feet, that was just popped up, and we could shoot out that window. So it was pretty luxurious for a sage grouse blind. It's kind of warm, padded, cozy. Birds couldn't see anything we were doing. And since he was monitoring this lek, he knew exactly where to park. Safe place for the birds, great place for photography. So the sun slowly starts to come up. Now I'm shooting with, like I mentioned, the D1H. And this is back in the days where, you had that long battery, looked like a, kind of like a car, totally dropping my mind. A clip for a handgun, big long battery. And I'd have a battery for each card. And the D1H, those are days of like maybe I had 128 megabyte card, megabyte, not gigabyte, 128 megabyte card. So I had a bunch of cards, a bunch of batteries, and I set up and had them on the bench next to me. And here come the grouse, and they were just going. Sage grouse. It was a perfect spot, great light, and I'm just popping in cards and batteries left and right. I'm going through. And shooting lasts for about maybe 90 minutes, a little bit longer. Then the grouse disperse off the lek, go back in the sage, and we're done. And when it's all said and done, I shot over 4,000 images in that 90 minutes. And that was, in 2002, a mind-boggling thing to do. And it's a perfect example of buck fever. You just pray and spray isn't even part of this equation. It is simply the incredible excitement of seeing these things, whatever it is, in your viewfinder, and you can't believe they're in your viewfinder, and you're just ripping it. I mean, just ripping it. In 2002, when it comes to digital darkroom, there was nothing around like we have today. And getting through those 4,000 images, it was a labor of love, to say the least. It was one hell of a task. Well, let's bring it to current times. Just last week, I'm on Lake Kissimmee there in Florida and on an airboat using Gator Swamp Tours. Great folks, great airboats, great pilots, working the grass and marsh of the lake for snail kites. Now, snail kites is an endangered bird that I have been wanting to photograph for decades and decades. I have seen them, but had never gotten glass on them and had not spent or devoted any time to just photographing just snail kites. I mean, that was my focus, just snail kites. We saw over 48 species of birds while we're there, but I wanted snail kites. And Rob there at the tours had warned me a year ago when I first booked the dates. Odds are slim. When I reconfirmed the dates a month earlier, odds are slim. The day before, well, we've seen one, and they were definitely not like promising, nor was I expecting to photograph snail kites. It's how it works. I've gone to a lot of places looking for a particular critter. I mean, very site-specific, critter-specific shoots and come back skunked. That's the norm. I'm used to it. Well, we go out that first morning, and we're just out there for 3 hours. And even that, the last 40 minutes, the light's pretty unless you got any kind of God scream going on. I mean, it's just hard light. And literally within minutes of launching from the dock, we're on snail kites. And then for basically 3 hours, we're on snail kites. That first morning, we had a banded male and banded male and two females. And with Mark Skill, that's our captain, piloting that and his knowledge of the lake and where the birds hang out, we're on these snail kites doing everything. The only thing we probably didn't catch was copulating. Otherwise, we got every other aspect of their biology by end of 3 hours. Get done and shooting the Z9 with a 500 PF 5.6 lens with a 1.4 attached to that. Really great combo for what we're working on. Light, easy to move around. You're in your seat of the airboat the whole time. Well, with that combination, the Z9, teleconverter, 500, come back to the dock and, well, the friends I was with, being the friends we are, of course, we're a little bit competitive. Just a little bit, maybe. And we start talking about how many frames were captured. Now, on the Z9, what I do is the battery goes in fresh in the morning, and then it keeps track of all the shots that were taken on that charge. So it's a real quick way of seeing how many pictures you've taken. You go to battery info, and it says how many images you've taken, how much battery is left. It's right there. So I go to setup menu, battery info. I look, and I was speechless. 15,511 photographs. 56% of the battery left. I was like, 15. I shot 15,000 images in 3 hours. I was almost mortified, and then I was elated, and then I was mortified, and then I was just over the moon excited. And then it was time to have lunch. And so we're talking, and I was actually not the high person. There was another shooter there who had 18,000. And the winner of the prize that day had shot 19,000 photographs in those 3 hours. Yeah, that was buck fever big time. That was buck fever big time. Well, I posted a shot on the old Weberoo, and had a lot of people saying, "Oh, how do you get through all those images?" Now, the mechanics getting through all those images is really quite simple. Photo mechanic, boom, done. Sucks them all in, puts them all on the light table. You can pound right through them, even from the Z9, easy peasy. But that's not really the point of going through them to myself. There's more to it, and that's really what I want to talk about. How did I deal with this buck fever? Because it wasn't like the days with that sage grouse where, that was painful because there was no DAM back then. It all had to be done manually through a window viewer and one at a time, and renaming those files was done one at a time. Oh, I just can remember that pain. Anyway, back to the snail kites. So first thing is I get all the images brought into the computer. Now, 15,511 images, that was more images in space than my internal drive on my MacBook Pro had available. So for once, I've never done this before, I had Photo Mechanic ingest all of those to my 4 terabyte external drive, SSD drive, because I, like I mentioned, couldn't put them on the notebook. Now that kind of slowed things a little bit because it has to bring them in and write them over there. But boom, it was done. Now they're on the external drive. I bring up Photo Mechanic. I open up that folder. I still remember that. I was just, and there they are. And then I tell it to sort on capture time rather than file name because 15,511 pictures. The camera had to make a few new folders because I was cranking through them. So I had to sort by capture time. And then what I did, what I always do when it comes to images, I have the light table there. I select the very first image, which would be the very first image I took that morning of a snail kite. And I always keep the first one. It's just a weird tradition, whether it's in focus, out of focus. I always keep that first one. That's just a thing I do. And so I select it in the light table, hit the space bar, it fills the screen. I hit the F key, as in Foxtrot. So all I see is the image. I don't see any image information. And I have the arrows, your arrow keys at the bottom, the delete key at the top. And I go through and hit the arrow key as fast as my little thumb can do it. They come up, and if it's sharp, I keep it. If it's out of focus, I deleted it. Now, in this process, I'm looking at these images. I'm looking not just at sharpness all the time. I mean, my focus is not just focus on sharpness. I look at other attributes that photograph that make it special, make it unique, be it light or color or gesture. What if there's something in that photograph that is really strikes a chord with me, and it's strictly personal. It's only if I strikes a chord with me, then I'll hit the one key, and that will put a red tag on it. And then I go through all these images, and I'm going through these images and going through these images. I'm not going to kid you. It was somewhat of a late night. It wasn't like I, had it done in a couple hours. Because air-to-air shoots, they're 4,000 to 5,000 images for half an hour. This was 15,000 images. So I got through them. I actually stopped partly through it. My eyes were just getting tired, and I finished it the next day. But I'm just pounding through them all. And just like I just mentioned, I just hit the arrow key. As long as it's sharp, I keep going forward. If it's out of focus, I hit delete. And if it's one that piques my interest, I hit the one key, and I go through them all. Now, if you know anything about my photography or myself, I'm a person, I started off in the days of film and taking in-camera dupes. Well, that was really ingrained into my photography. For those who don't know what an in-camera dupe is, it goes back to the days of film. And if you wanted a duplicate of an original image, the best way to do it, the most economical, the fastest, was just when you had that picture in the viewfinder, you take 3 to 5 frames of it. That way you had in-camera dupes. And that has to do with the editorial publication world. And and many other factors. And I've always done it. I carried on with digital. I've always shot multiples of any one frame, just the way I'm wired, the way I do it. I love to hear the sound of the shutter. Well, the Z9's kind of changed that. First of all, there is no shutter sound unless you turn it on. And where I'm used to maybe 3 or 5 images, duplicates, in the case of the Z9, it was 3 or 500 duplicates. Seriously. I mean, just that 20 frames per second is the most awesome thing on the planet. I mean, you think of video as 30 frames per second. This is 20 frames per second. It just captures so many small nuances that just make the photograph, I just love it. But when they were perched, for example, on their little twig, and they're just looking out, I didn't need 300 duplicates. Yeah, I had a few. So how did I get through all those? Like I mentioned, I had tagged them, and I would look at the thumbnails on the table view there in Photo Mechanic, and I would literally select one, and then I could see all these duplicates. And then I go to the last one, and I hold down the Shift key. I click on that. Then I go Command Delete, and poof, they all disappear. And at the end of the day, when I got done with all 15,511, there was maybe like 6 out of focus. I mean, that Z9 nails focus. And the 5-point gimbal in there and everything else. Even the shots where the boat is moving and I'm shooting, they were sharp. I didn't get any breaks. All those images, the vast, I kept 93% of those images from the first pass. That's only 7% out of focus shots, but I didn't need all those duplicates of a perch or what have you. So but I got all done cleaning up all those duplicates. I mean, a ton. I was down to just a tad under 8,000 images that actually got filed. Now, that still is a huge case of buck fever, because I don't think I really need all those pictures. I know I won't finish all those pictures, but the reward of having that much fun, that much success when I didn't think I was even going to see a bird, let alone photograph one. And then to have the individual birds we had, and they're just gorgeous. The light was gorgeous. The biology was just brilliant. I mean, yeah, it's buck fever, big time. But I look at those pictures and I think of how many years I waited to get them. I am tickled to death. So the point of this whole podcast is just enjoy and have fun. And if you hit the hammer and you take a boatload of pictures, just count your blessings, because that's just a great way of just exercising your passion and putting it out there. And when it comes to getting through those images, you can do it. I've just explained how I do it. It really is not difficult if you just think through it logically. And then once you have them all culled and ready to go, then you get to go back and enjoy those and share them with others. And that's really the whole point. So, hey, it's springtime. Lots of great opportunities to get out there and shoot. Go out and make them. And remember to make every click your story.